How do you follow up the greatest set of all time? Let's talk about the future of Magic the Gathering. Well, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to Kitchen Table TCG. My name is Louie, and I hope you're having yourself a fantastic day. Today, I want to have a conversation about the future of Magic the Gathering. There's going to be a lot of discussion in the comment section. Every time we talk about this kind of stuff, the discussion in the comment section is super good. So I encourage you to go down there, leave me your opinions on this stuff. It's really interesting. This Final Fantasy Magic the Gathering set, we have the announcement a couple months ago that it was already the greatest selling Magic the Gathering set of all time. Obviously, this comes 2 years after Lord of the Rings was the greatest selling Magic the Gathering set of all time, which is like 2 years after Modern Horizons 2 was the greatest selling Magic the Gathering set of all time. So I've been thinking, like, what are the things in the down the future potential for Magic the Gathering that could become the next greatest Magic the Gathering set of all time? And it's really interesting. Lord of the Rings proved that Universes Beyond had more power than Magic the Gathering IP. I remember when Modern Horizons 2 came out, I was talking to a couple of my friends and I was like, this is the perfect Magic the Gathering set. I know there's all the differences and the frustration with Modern Horizons and the modern format and whatever, but from a set component and from a excitement from the entire Magic the Gathering scene and from a power level and from a just basic financial perspective of a set, that set was absolutely bonkers. And then when Lord of the Rings came out, I was like, oh my gosh, this proves that Universes Beyond, as much as, you know, some of us on this channel might not love it, might not be all in on the Universes Beyond thing from a decision to say, I love Magic the Gathering, but Universes Beyond proves that Beyond the Magic IP sells infinitely better than Magic IP. So you got Final Fantasy, you know, actual release date is this Friday, and then in a month and a half, you have Edge of Eternities, which is just going to completely flop. Like, these sets, these Magic the Gathering, regular Aether Drift, Magic the Gathering in space, these regular Magic the Gathering sets that don't have the Dragons of Tarkir and the Ugins and that kind of thing, are not going to be able to compete with things like Lord of the Rings and Final Fantasy. So it begs this question, how does Magic continue to push the envelope in the Universes Beyond to create something that in 2 years can be the greatest selling Magic the Gathering set of all time? Because unfortunately, the way that this works and the way that the world works and the way that you work as a consumer, the way that I work as a store, is that we have to one-up everything. And Magic sees this. They know that in 2 years, they have to grow, otherwise it looks bad to their, you know, to Wizards of the Coast and to Hasbro and to all the investors, whatever. They have this constant game of one-upping themselves constantly. So right now, or probably 2 or 3 years ago, I just heard that it took them 5 years to develop Final Fantasy. But 2 or 3 years ago, whatever, they started developing these sets that are going to come out. And it begs the question, how do you keep doing that? Because right now it was interesting. I actually reached out to another store owner in the area and I said, hey, how did your pre-release go? I was just curious. It's been cool to kind of build some friendships with some of the other local stores in the area. Now that things are up and going and the store feels good. It's been fun to just like sit back, not necessarily look at them as competition, but look at them as like friends. And it's really cool. And it's been fun. And one of the things I said, how was pre-release? And he was like, I mean, it would be very difficult to not do well with Final Fantasy. It would be very difficult for a store to struggle right now when you have the hype and excitement of Final Fantasy. But the reality of card shop owning, the reality of Magic and the economy and the whole setup of this whole thing is that eventually the cookie crumbles. Eventually they can't hit that one up. and eventually things start deteriorating. And that's when it gets really, really difficult to be a store, to sell singles online, to flip product, to do all the things. So I think one of the things as you go through this road and go down this rabbit hole of going through and figuring out where are you in this business stuff, where are you in if you should sell your collection or do whatever, is like, can they one-up this? And so one of the things I think is, man, I think Marvel could have done it if they did like a big Marvel set that was, you know, the Avengers, and it was it was like Lord of the Rings, but Marvel, and it was everything all together. I think that could have done it. But what they've chosen to do with the Marvel set, apparently, is to go with Spider-Man and go with, you know, probably in the future, Captain America and maybe an Avengers set, but maybe not the whole thing. And I'm not convinced that an individual Marvel set can do as well as something like Lord of the Rings. I think really the realistic thing is that Final Fantasy, sorry, I said Lord of the Rings, but Lord of the Rings and Final Fantasy both fit inside of Magic the Gathering. It feels like Magic the Gathering felt for the last 20 to 30 years. Marvel doesn't do that. When you put Captain America in something, it doesn't feel like it naturally fits in the Magic the Gathering universe. So I just don't think these individual sets will be able to stack up to Final Fantasy. I don't know, you know, if they could have done like a Harry Potter set. You know, we had the, what was it, Strixhaven was kind of like the Harry Potter set without being Harry Potter. It's almost like back in the Strixhaven days, they were trying to do a Universes Beyond thing, and they just didn't get the IP. They just couldn't, you know, sign the contract. And so they pivoted and they changed up Strixhaven to not be Harry Potter. But man, if they did a Harry Potter set, I think that IP would do really well in the Magic the Gathering environment. I think the IP is pretty big and people really like that. It would bring a lot of people my age really love Harry Potter because we grew up with the books and that kind of thing. But other than that, I'm not sure that there's anything. I don't think Marvel can do it. I don't think that Harry Potter does it as much as Lord of the Rings has. The only set, in my opinion, again, I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. What could one-up Final Fantasy? The only thing I think could do it and would absolutely be unstoppable, absolute home run in the TCG industry, the only thing would be a Pokemon Universes Beyond full set thing. And I know there's going to be a lot of negative in the comment section on that. Louis, Pokemon doesn't fit Magic the Gathering. I totally understand. I don't want Pokemon in my Magic the Gathering either. Just like I don't want SpongeBob in my Magic the Gathering. Just like I don't want Frodo and the One Ring in my Magic the Gathering, even though there's 4 in your deck and it doesn't fit anything thematically. I don't want any of that either, but I've accepted that we're going to get there. And if you think about it with Pokemon, there are hundreds of thousands of Pokemon fans who have zero interest in learning the Pokemon TCG, but they do have a lot of interest. They've heard their friends play Magic the Gathering. It's more of an adult, you know, game. It's more of a polished thing, and I think a lot of Pokemon fans, a metric ton of Pokemon collectors and fans and people who engage with the hobby would make their way over to a Magic the Gathering Pokemon set. I think it would be absolutely crazy. I don't want to either. I don't want to summon a Charizard to fight a baleful, you know, dragon, whatever it is. I don't want to do that. I don't want to have but it would be absolutely a home run. Now, I know the comment section is going to get on me about this. There was a huge falling out between Pokemon and Wizards of the Coast in the 90s or in the early 2000s, and that's why Pokemon moved away from Wizards of the Coast with the license. I know that bad history exists, but man, it's been 20 years. You know, it's been a long time since that. I also know that they're competitors in a lot of ways, right? They are competitors, but both of them would benefit massively, absolutely massively from a cross-promoted thing. So in my opinion, that is the only IP I can think of that would really outshine Final Fantasy. It would really outshine Lord of the Rings. It would really cast a much wider net. I think if they ever did something like that, it would probably be impossible to top. it would be absolutely impossible for them to ever make it higher than a Pokemon Magic the Gathering set. So those are my thoughts. You know, again, Final Fantasy has been such a home run thing. And I don't know if it ever gets this simple again as a store. It is, you don't have to do anything. It's just a pretty simple experience to sell product because of the hype. I'm not sure we ever get there again. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. How do we go beyond Universes Beyond? How do we go beyond Final Fantasy? Is the reality that this will just drop off and Final Universes Beyond is just, there's an ending for Universes Beyond because there's only so many IP that they can, IP is intellectual property, if I didn't explain that. There's only so much IP that they can get into until they have to go back to making Magic the Gathering sets. Hopefully you have yourself a fantastic day. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Remember to be kind to the people around you. We'll see you again next video.